What's up, guys? My name's Salim, this is NorCal Daily Driven, and welcome to the channel. If you've been watching some of my other videos, you know I've been waiting for a car to come in from across the country, and things didn't work out with the shipper or whatever. Anyway, I had to go on vacation for a week. The car came in on Monday. It's been here for 5 days already, and I got to see it for the first time last night. Got in super late from New York, went on a trip with my wife, and my brother picked up the car for me. There's a little story to that. I'll get into that later, but you know, don't want to keep you guys stuck for too long. But if you already follow me on Instagram, you already know what it is. But let's get to the shots real quick. Boom. And if you know what you're looking at, that's a 2010 Chevy Corvette ZR1 C6 body style in torch red. Oh, finally got it. If you haven't seen it in some of the other videos, I always talk about what I used to have. Anyway, maybe 3-4 years ago, I used to have a 2008 C6 Z06, and ever since that car, I fell in love with Corvettes, and I've always wanted to get another one. And I've been on the hunt for a ZR1 recently for the past couple months, and this one popped up in Florida for a killer deal. I mean, I'll get into that later, but I mean, you cannot find another one in the nation for the deal that I got this on. It's a 2010 with 14,000 miles. I mean, barely used, 2-owner car. First owner had it for 5 years for 12,000 miles. Then the second guy purchased it a year and a half ago, and he only had it for like 1,500, 2,000 miles on it. So, I mean, it's basically a brand new car. I mean, I'm going to show you the inside in a little bit here, but I mean, like most Corvette owners, they only drive them on the weekends, but I'm hoping to change that. And a lot of people are driving them these days too, but I mean, there's still a majority of drivers, Corvette owners, that just drive them on Sundays, pull them out of the garage on the weekends or whatever. But not me. I'm going to daily drive it, so I'm super stoked. I mean, last night I came home, or I thought I was coming home. I'll show you some clips, but anyway, we called up my dad to pick me up from the airport because he lives like 10 minutes away from the airport. Me and my wife were waiting, and it's 10 minutes, you know, so 15 minutes passed by, 20 minutes passed by. I'm like, oh, for sure my dad got mixed up, didn't know what terminal to pick us up in, so I call him again. I'm like, hey, where are you? He's like, I'm on my way, don't worry, you know, a couple minutes out. And he keeps giving me this couple minutes out, and I'm like, dude, what's up? Like, it's not that far. And he finally rolls up, but I'm still not connecting the dots or whatever, and there's a red Corvette behind him, and I'm like, I told my wife, that's pretty funny. I was like, there's a Corvette pulling up behind my dad. I was like, it's just a coincidence or whatever, and I still don't put it together. My dad pulls up, I get the bags and everything, and I look back again, and I see my brother's driving the Corvette, and it's my Corvette. I mean, I'm flipping out. I'm kind of stuck. I'm kind of in shock. It didn't set in immediately. Like you could see me. I'm gonna shoot some I'm going to switch to some of the footage that my wife got on her cell phone. I mean, unfortunately, we weren't prepared for it, and my brother didn't give my wife a heads up, so we weren't able to get a ton of video of my reaction. But I mean, I'm just stuck. I'm like in front of the airport, and I'm just like, oh my God, is this really mine? Is this really mine? And as we're driving off, she's sitting in the passenger seat, and you can see what I'm saying to her. But anyway, super stoked. The car finally came in. If you could see it behind me, I mean, torch red. I've never actually seen a ZR1, a red one actually in person this close up, but I mean, this color is just so bright. I thought the hell rot red from my E36 M3 was bright, but I mean, this thing is on another level. Like, it just, I don't know if it's getting it in the video here, but I mean, it just blows up. It's called torch red from Chevy, so, and I can see why it's torch red. It's literally on fire 24/7. We keep it lit, right? Anyway, so let's go over some of the specs here. So if you know anything about ZR1s, this is a 2010 ZR1 2010 was the first year they came with the performance traction management, so that's PTM. The ride control knob in the center next to the shift knob has 5 modes. You get a dry mode, a wet mode, 2 sport modes, and a race mode. Basically, it controls the traction delivery of the vehicle, right? So like if you put it in wet mode and you're on a track in the rain or something and you want to do some performance driving, it's going to limit the torque and it's going to limit the power. So when you're coming out of the turns and you get on the gas, the car's not sliding all over the place. It'll give you some slide, but not completely spin out. But anyway, the other modes, they just keep adding power, you know, as you get comfortable. So you could go through all those modes. It's magnetic ride, so it's magno-rheological shocks or whatever it is. A lot of the new cars have it. The new Z06 has it. But I mean, when this thing came out in 2010, it was kind of like the forefront of those shocks, because the only other company I think that was running them at the time was Ferrari. Speaking of Ferrari, this thing has Enzo carbon ceramic brakes. Ferrari Enzo, that $2 million collector car. So let's get a shot of those brakes. They're massive, carbon ceramics. Obviously with the blue, signature blue ZR1 rotors to match the signature blue 1 in the ZR1 badges. So these brakes are huge, and it's kind of like a hit or miss with carbon ceramic brakes. A lot of people want them, a lot of people don't want them. A lot of people want them because they dust less. A lot of people don't want them because if they're worn out, it costs an arm and a leg to replace. Luckily for me, I mean, the car's only got 14,000 miles, and it was mostly a street-driven car, so I'm not really worried about the life of them. The brake pads look like they're in awesome condition. The rotors look in excellent condition. Overall, the car is just in amazing condition. I'm just surprised about how well they were able to keep it. It's 2010, so they didn't have, you know, all this new XPEL clear coat film protection back in the day, but I mean, he did put a clear bra on it, the previous owner. So it's got a full clear bra on the front bumper. It's got a clear bra behind the front wheels on the fenders here, right here up near the gills. So here's the line. That's unfortunate about getting a clear bra back in the day, that they didn't wrap the full panels, so you could still see a line. So when you get like wax buildup or something, you could see it built up around here, and it comes down right here. So I'm hoping to buff it up a little bit, get all that out of there, or maybe at some point I'll get a rewrap. And then he also has it on the rear bumper, or the rear quarter here into the rear bumper. So like if you're doing a burnout or something, or any road grime and targets on here, it's an easy cleanup. Overall, the car is really clean. It needs you know, a slight polish or whatever, but nothing crazy. So getting back to the specs on the car, in 2010 this car was pretty ahead of its time, right? So it's got full carbon front bumper, full carbon fiber fenders, full carbon hood. It's got the full ZR1 front splitter down there, all carbon fiber. Obviously the signature to the ZR1s is the full carbon roof and the full carbon halo that goes over the roof here, full carbon side skirts, and that's about it. I want to get a carbon diffuser at some point, but I mean, that's big bucks. We're talking like $800. I want to get the carbon extended ZR1 spoiler. That would be really nice. And if you're probably wondering what these stickers are on the side of the car, they are these come from the Corvette racing team. This is the Jake Skull, so it's kind of like the mascot from the Corvette racing team. Let me know what you think about it. I'm kind of thinking keeping them on, not really sure. It might be corny, I think people might think it's cheesy, but I think it kind of goes with the sinister theme of the black and red, and just, you know, how crazy this Corvette is actually. So let's jump to the interior. This car came with the two-tone ebony and titanium interior, and it's a 3ZR package, meaning it's fully leather wrapped. So it's got the black with the silver or titanium trim, and it's full leather door panels, leather dash, obviously leather seats, got the leather armrest. The leather just continues all the way across the dash. So it is the most highly optioned package you could get back in 2010. So the MSRP on this car, I have the sticker or the printout, it's $124,000. Obviously I didn't pay $124,000. Like I told you, I probably got the best deal on this car in the nation. I looked for 2 months, private party, dealership, everything, and this thing just popped up, and I made a move on it. There was no way I was gonna try to miss it. And I was very skeptical about what it was at first, because if you saw the other video, I told you guys that there was no pictures posted initially. I called up the dealership, spoke to the sales guy. I was like, hey man, send me pictures ASAP. Once I saw the pictures, I was like, dude, this just doesn't make sense. There's no way that this car is at this price going to be in a great condition. I was expecting, you know, something to come and it was going to have a whole bunch of issues or whatever. But I mean, knock on wood, I got really lucky. The car is super clean. So I really hope that you guys tune into some of the future videos that's going to come up, because I mean, this thing is going to be a riot. I need to put together a bunch of videos of, you know, just everything about the car. We'll do some drive-alongs. I'll do some, you know, I'm sure in this video you guys will get some clips of the exhaust. In 2010, well, even before 2010, even the 2008 Z06s, they had the dual muffler, or the dual mode bi-mode exhaust. So that's why the inner exhaust tips are super dirty, because once you open those up, it opens up the second chamber in the exhaust, and the exhaust gets much louder. So these are programmed to come open at like 3,000, 3,500 RPM, anything past half throttle. And this thing, I mean, a lot of people put the switches in it. It's called a mild to wild. So where you could control it, you could open the flaps whenever you want. So it could always be open, or you could close it whenever you're on the freeway so it doesn't drone. But the previous owner pulled the fuse on that so that it's always open. So this thing's got a killer cold start. And I mean, when you're just driving around light to light, I mean, it sounds amazing. When you just open it up, oh my god, it's like all hell breaks loose. Let's talk about the power. 638 horsepower, 609 pound-feet of torque, or 604 pound-feet of torque. Let's pop the hood. There's not much you can see, obviously. With these new cars, they put a lot of plastic everywhere. But I mean, oh, before we get too far ahead, right? The signature glass insert in the ZR1 hood, which is also a raised hood as compared to the Z06s that came from this year. And it's got this glass window, as you can see, all carbon hood, exposed carbon. Looks super sick when you open it up. You got the LS9 power plant. I'm gonna walk over here to show you the power plaque that comes with these things. So just in case you forgot, it's a ZR1, 376 cubic inches, LS9, 6.2 liter supercharged, 638 horsepower, 604 pound-feet of torque, 9.1 to 1 compression. So there you go, full rundown, right? They just tell you exactly what it is, so you don't ever forget. But I mean, you know, it's got the whole ZR1 cover and everything. Obviously signature blue, because that's what the whole scheme was behind the ZR1, right? So back in 2008, the code name for this before the ZR1 came out was the Blue Devil project, and no one knew what the Blue Devil was. They just knew Chevy was working on something really killer that was going to come out, and they referred to it behind the scenes as the Blue Devil. So going with that Blue Devil theme, or I think it was the designer or the engineer who initially produced the or created the ZR1, he was a Michigan State, not Michigan State, but he was a Michigan fan. So whatever team in Michigan that's the Blue Devils, he was a big fan of that, so he called it Project Blue Devil. Anyway, I think it's only right that I called this the Red Devil, because obviously it's red. The heritage comes from the Blue Devil, so from now on we're going to refer to this car as the Red Devil. So, yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums it up, right? I mean, that's the whole spec of the car. Any mods that came with the car? No mods as far as I know. The car is completely stock except for the pulled fuse so that you could hear the bi-mode exhaust. It's got the Jake stickers on it. At some point, the previous owner either purchased black wheels or painted, because this one came with the factory chrome wheels. So either he painted or powder coated or purchased aftermarket wheels. So this has the black wheels. They're in satin, not gloss. I would have liked the high gloss because it's easier to keep clean, or it just looks cleaner. He put the again, the Jake skulls in the center caps, so that's what those look like. So I'd really like you guys' feedback or comment below in the comments to let me know what do you guys think of the Jake stickers. If you see the pictures on my Instagram, that's at NorCal Daily Driven, you'll see a better picture from the side view to see what the Jake stickers look like. But if you think it looks cool, you know, if the majority goes with it, I think I'm cool with it. Yeah, but let's go for a drive, you know, see what it sounds like. in my neighborhood, there are no sports cars. Nobody has a nice sports car. Everybody's like a family, blah, blah, blah. Like the nicest thing is like a sports sedan or something. I get a ZR1 last night. Tell me why I just found a ZR1 in my neighborhood. Let's check this thing out. I drove by it earlier to see if anybody was outside, but no one came out. But I don't know what kind of coincidence this is, but check this out. You can't even write this stuff. Yellow ZR1 in my neighborhood. I get one last night. Someone's had one, or it just showed up or something. Anyway guys, that's the car. I'm super pumped about it. I mean, I'm still learning a bunch of stuff about it, still learning, you know, like how to control the power. I mean, I don't know when I'll be able to get used to this power. It is insane amount of power. I can't wait to see what the reactions are when I take this thing to work. I'm sure my boss is gonna be like, what the hell is going on here? How much do we pay this guy? Even though it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's not that much money compared to some of the cars out here. I mean, right now, I probably bought this car for a well-equipped, like, German entry-level sports sedan or something like that. I'll get into the price and all the money things in a different video. But thanks for tuning in, guys. If you guys really if you guys really like watching the videos and you want to see more about what's going on with the ZR1 in my garage, and of course, I'm not going to try to forget about the M3. I mean, that's been my daily for such a long time. Anyway guys, I appreciate you guys hitting that play button. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you guys can see some of my future videos. Really appreciate the support. So until the next video, enjoy the ride.